Hello everyone, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video. When I started making this video, I never expected for many people to actually watch these videos. But now I have more than 300 followers on this channel, and yeah, many of my videos get a couple of hundred views, which is amazing. I'm still primarily doing this for me, for myself, to become better at the game, to become better at playing these heroes that I like. But at the same time, I've also thought, okay, if there are actually people watching this, maybe I need to start doing it a little bit differently and to share more about my thoughts on what is actually my game plan for this matchup. And then at the end, review how I did. Did I actually follow this game plan? And what is my learning from this game, right? To be, yeah, just a little bit more focused on actually getting something out of this. And so this is what I would like to test today to see if this is something that first of all helps me, but then of course if it's also something that you guys enjoy watching in the video. So in this game today, we're playing against Cindra. And so I would like to briefly go over what I'm thinking the reviled Kayo game plan should be against Cindra. So first of all, die roll is super important. If Cindra is allowed to decide, she will most likely always go second and start pressuring you immediately. So if you win the die roll, you definitely want to go second. Yes, Cindra might be able to leak 1, maybe 2, 3 damage to you in turn 0, depending on what kind of hand you draw, but it still gives you so much opening in the actual turn 1 to attack her with one of your 2/8s, or maybe even, you get a take it on the chin on turn 0 and you're able to get go again and pressure her even more. But you are most likely able to get a life lead in turn 1. And that is the second thing that I want to achieve when playing against Cindra. I want to get a life lead as early as possible, because only then most of my cards like Big Bully and the Mocking Blows, etc., only then they are alive and they can actually outvalue what Cindra is doing. Because don't get me wrong, you will still block quite a lot against the Cindra in this matchup. In terms of blocking, I personally think it's still really relevant to deny Cindra the mask value. I don't want her to draw another 0/3, 0/4, or whatever other cards she has in order to pressure me. So usually I don't need my full hand to attack Cindra with, a Mocking Blow with a Tunic resource or a Vigor, and a blue is enough to present 8 to 10 damage. And also the 2/8s, that's one card into another card plays. So yeah, ideally I want to use at least 2 to 3 cards in my hand, depending on my setup, to deny Cindra the value of mask. And that's obviously, the blocking decision is really dependent on how many cards Cindra has. If she has 5 cards, it's becoming quite difficult to block this out, right? Because you need to block the 3rd chain link she can flick over, and then you still need to block the 4th chain link. But also think about blocking the 3rd and the 2nd. There are multiple options here, but ideally you want to block the chain link where she really gets the value of the mask. If she has an ancestral empowerment, she has one, it's very difficult to play around that. Only option would be take it on the chin. And take it on the chin is a very, very good card also for denying the flick. Because very often when you block on Chainlink 2 or Chainlink 3, Cindra will flick one of her daggers. And if you then have a take it on the chin, you can deny that flick hitting and usually mark her mask draw dead. So that is definitely something you want to focus on. And ultimately, also on the second point in terms of life lead, you definitely want to send disruption if you can. If she has something in arsenal and you send a CNC, she will be playing with 1 or 2 cards less. If you can combine it with the pummels that you might play, she will play with even less cards. So definitely give this a test. So let's dive into the game and take a look at how this game went. So luckily I was able to choose to go second. So you can already put a check mark behind the first of my game plan thoughts. And Cindra here is attacking me with a Kunai of Retribution. So I see that she pitched a red, so there's most likely not another kunai coming through, but she still has the option to play maybe even all 3 of her cards, depending on how likely she thinks it's going to be for her to draw. So I decide to not block the kunai of Retribution here, even though I have 4 cards, so there might be an argument to still block the kunai of Retribution, but going down 1 life I think is fine here. Then comes a Display Loyalty, so a clean 3 block. So I use the Steal Victory to get the fealty token off of her immediately to deny her that value in case she needs it down the line. And here she immediately goes for the flick. So she has some intention to use her attacks to get a mask trigger. And here comes the Blood Runs Deep. And so now it's clear why she used the flick here, because Blood Runs Deep hits me 100% of the time because of the dagger that is being flicked. And so no matter if I block here or not, she will still be live with Mask of Momentum. So there is a good chance for her now to use her last card and attack me with it if she thinks that I'm not able to block this out. But given I have 2 cards in hand, I've only shown her 3 blocks. If this is only a 0 for 3, there might be a good chance that she already knows that this is not going to hit me. So ultimately, I probably could have blocked the kunai to have 1 more life here with the boost most likely. But at the same time, if now, for example, this would be a snatch or something, I would need 2 cards now to block this. Otherwise, I would need to give her equipment already. And if I can avoid it, I definitely want to not give her equipment on turn 0. So my hand is good. I mean, I can either play the Show of Strength or the Command and Conquer. Could even think about rolling Scabbies and trying for both, but I definitely want to prioritize the sync into Arsenal. And here I decide to go for the Command and Conquer, pitching the boost, because this is most likely she's not able to block this out. Like either she needs to give me 2 or 3 cards from hand, or she just lets it hit and I get her Arsenal. One way or the other, she will not be attacking me with 5 cards. And with putting the sync below in Arsenal, I can certainly make use of that. And she lets me hit, so she goes down to 34. I get a Ravenous Rebel. So by attacking her with the Command and Conquer, I denied her 4 damage on me already. And so I kept the Show of Strength in hand in case I do not see a 2 for 8. And I get another one with a Swing Big. I have 2 blues. So there are multiple options for me to block her 4-card hands. I can definitely give away one of the blue cards. I can definitely give away the sync below. And if things go south for me, I can also give her maybe the Show of Strength here. So she's attacking me with a kunai again. Again pitching a red card. So it seems like she doesn't have a starter here. And I don't block that. It's okay for that 1 damage from the kunai. I want to use my blocks on the cards where it really matters. And here she comes in with a Demonstrate Devotion, so 0 for 4. And in order to block this, I need to give her either 2 cards or card plus equipment. And because I have 2 for 8s in hand, so a 6 or more power, I could also think about blocking with a Show of Strength and the Apex Bonebreaker. Obviously, I would overblock by 1, or otherwise, I can also use the sync below that I have in Arsenal, which is probably the better decision here. If she has an Ancestral Empowerment, she has one, or like one of the other cards that pump her attacks. But here I'm fine just using the sync below. So using the sync, I could think about syncing away one of the blues, which I do here, and I get another 2 for 8. So 2 Swing Bigs now in hand. I was hoping maybe for something else, like another D-React that I can put in Arsenal or something like that. So now Blood Runs Deep. So she's again hitting me with the dagger that she still had left. So I take 1 more damage, go down to 34. And because she flicked on the last Chain Link, she's still like hot here in terms of drawing from a mask. So here I decide to give her the Scabskin Leathers to block out the 2. And now I can give her 2 cards blocking or equipment and the Show of Strength to get the Might and then also to have another swing big in arsenal, because on that turn I will then have my tunic up. So yeah, I get a the might, and now I can attack with swing big. For 9, we're equal in life right now. That's definitely not where I want to be. So sending 9 here should put me at a decent advantage in life total. And I still have a lot of block on my equipment, still 1 on both Scabskin Leathers and Apex Bonebreaker. And the most important equipment piece here is obviously Scowling Flashback, because that card single-handedly can deny Cindra the Mask Draw. So she takes 9, goes down to 25. I can put the swing big into arsenal, and I'm quite okay with this turn cycle. So I see a lot of blue and 1 yellow, so I should keep one of these cards to send the swing big. So that would give me the option to block with some of the others. Overcrowded, because there's a fealty in play, currently blocks for 3. So NIMBY is the least likely option for me to block. But in order to deny the Mask Trigger here, I let the first attack hit, and now I can decide more specifically on blocks. So the Ronin Renegade could be blocked with 3, so I take the Overcrowded in case my opponent is using the fealty, and that is my first error, because what Cindra can do here is use the fealty, and then Overcrowded does not block for 3 anymore. So yeah, this was a little bit of a misplay, and I allow Cindra to hit here without flicking the Clave. And now she comes in with another Ravener's Rebel for 4, revealing a Sink Below in her next hand. And so I actually decide here to use both the Scowling Flashback as well as the NIMBY to block for 4 and make her, you not be able to use the card because it's intimidated and she needs to put it into arsenal. And now this gives me the option to attack her for 8 with the swing big. And then I put the Battered, Beaten, and Broken in arsenal. Maybe there's a chance for me to get it off with might counters. Let's see. That's definitely helpful. So I knew she had the Sink Below, so she's only taking 4 here, going down to 21. I'm 8 life ahead, so still a decent amount. She has 4 cards, so there's definitely the option for Mask Draw. And I do see the Cruel Ambition in my next hand. So now the Battered, Beaten, and Broken is technically live. I don't have any blues, so there's no option for me to push it up to 9. But that's okay, right? I mean, I can still block for 9 technically with the other cards, and then Cruel Ambition would come in for 4. Or I could, if it is possible in any way, block with the Command and Conquer and the Apex Bonebreaker. That would create me a might, and then the Battered, Beaten, and Broken would come in for 5. So that's why I take the Ignite, and also now the first kunai, most likely the second kunai. No, there's not a second kunai, because Cindra plays this smart. This obviously like a chain link I need to block in order for Mask to still be live. So here, in anticipation of an Ancestral Empowerment or anything similar, I actually do use the Command and Conquer and the Apex Bonebreaker. So I do lose life technically because I overblock this, but with creating the might, I think that's kind of like negated. And the Battered, Beaten, Broken, it will be much more difficult for her to block this for 5 rather than for 4. And here comes a Snatch. So I do want to block with 1 card and the Scabskin Leathers. And last turn I said, like, I still have a decent amount of block left. Now block is gone. I only have the Tunic left. So now I really need to block with my cards in hand. But I don't allow her to draw. I mean, technically, she had still 1 card in hand, so I don't know if it was a bait or not. But yeah, better safe than sorry in this position. So I do play the Cruel Ambition, and now the Battered, Beaten, and Broken, getting 1 of her cards in Banish. So if she doesn't block this, if she takes damage from Battered, Beaten, and Broken, then I will be able to destroy the card in her Banish zone. And she doesn't block, so she takes 5, goes down to 16. And what did I get? Oh, a Demon. Well, I can't read it anymore. A Demonstrate Devotion. So that's, I think, a pretty good hit here. I do get another Cruel Ambition. I get 2 blues to block, and I have a Sink Below. So yeah, I definitely want to play the E-Strike, so I need to keep 1 card in hand in order to come for 10. If I can avoid it, I don't want to block with a Cruel Ambition, but let's see what yeah, the cards allow me to do. So here comes a cut through. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious what she wants to do. She wants to flick one of her kunais to hit me. So the cut through gets go again and goes to 4. So this is a very clean sink below block from my end. And I could even think about, banishing, not banishing, but putting one of the blue cards under my deck to, get another card here if it works more. But she plays an Ancestral Empowerment, and so she goes to 5, so I do not use the sink below because I can't avoid getting hit here anymore. And then I want to use the sink on a different chain link to really block out the mask. So here comes another kunai, and I think there is an argument for me to block the kunai here because that would have immediately allowed me to deny mask. And so this way I actually need to give her 2 cards, the Flex Strength and the Steel Victory, block for 6, and now I can decide if I want to use the E-Strike to bottom the Sink Below or bottom the Cruel Ambition. Probably the smartest would be to bottom the Cruel Ambition, but I think I choose otherwise. No, I don't choose otherwise. Lucky me. So I do play safe here, and I do keep the Sink Below because, again, that allows me to not let her trigger mask. And so far, if I remember correctly, she did not get a mask trigger once in this game. So let's see if I can keep this up. But now, obviously, it's only damage and it's no disruption. Cindra's going to play with a 5-card hand. No, she actually has a D-React, so she's playing with a 4-card hand again. And so Sync could come in quite handy. She's going down to 10. I'm at 15. And here I draw another Cruel Ambition, and I also have an outside, or 2 outside interference and a blue NIMBY. So here I decide to use one of the outside interferences right away to get eventually get a blocking card, right? Like the Bully Tactics, for example, or any of the others. But what I could do here, because I have Tunic come up, if I can block this out with both the Bully Tactics and the Sink Below I have in Arsenal, I could use the outside interference to get another Battered, Beaten, and Broken. I could play the Cruel Ambition before, and then I could use the NIMBY and the Tunic resource to pump this up to 9, and then still have 3 Might token for my next turn. And so I let this hit me, and I can still block the next attacks with both Bully Tactics and or Sink. And so here I use Bully Tactics to block for 3, expect the flick of the dagger, so I go down to 7. Mask is still alive here, and now it's relevant what the last attack is. If it's a 0-4-4, 0-4-3, it's a 0-4-4, so I can easily block this out with my Sink Below in Arsenal and again deny mask. And that also means that my opponent will be down to most likely 3 cards in my next turn, or in her next turn, because I will have the Battered, Beaten, and Broken live with the Cruel Ambition. So here Sink. I don't want to sink anything because this hand works quite well. I'm 3 live down, and I mean, right now Cindra has more armor block than I have, but now I send some disruption, and as we all know, disruption is really good against Cindra. So here getting the Battered, Beaten, and Broken, playing the Cruel Ambition, now playing the Battered, Beaten, and Broken, and now I have enough pitch to actually go up to 9. So this most likely like a difficult spot for her to block. And here my opponent blocks for 4. So maybe being unsure if I actually have the resource of this is more of a bait, but it's not a bait. I do have the resources. So Cindra taking 5, giving me mask, giving me a Rising Resentment, and another Demonstrate Devotion. So I was able to get 2 out of the 3 Demonstrate Devotions from her. And here my hand sucks, unfortunately. So Cindra's coming in for 3 with Ronin Renegade. And I do have 2 2 blocks, 1 3 block, and a Fate Foreseen in hand. If there would be like a blue, that would be so sick. Like I could come in for so much damage. But this way, not really, right? And so what I decide to do here is to not block the first chain link because I don't want to like use the Fate and then on a 3 attack and then there's coming a 4 attack. And so here I definitely want to use the Hot on her heels maybe to block the so to use the Fate Foreseen to block the Hot on their heels. But there's also like a world where I need to use Looking for Scrap and Fianda's Spring Tunic to block for 3. Because what could happen if I use the Fate Foreseen now is that she flicks one of her daggers, she uses Blood Splattered Vest, and then comes in with another kunai. So again, dealing one more damage here. And so I decide to use the Looking for a Scrap and the Tunic because it's unlikely to get more value out of Tunic. So I definitely want to use this here to preserve some life. And that allows me to use the E-Strike and then maybe, bottoming one of the cards. I mean, it comes in for 10 for sure. And Looking for Scrap is a lot of damage, right? It's 5 damage off of 1 resource. So a blue would allow me to go Looking for a Scrap into Mandible Claw, coming for 8 damage. But there's also a world where Fate Foreseen is the better option in Arsenal. Probably the safer way would be to put the Fate Foreseen into Arsenal and bottom the Looking for a Scrap. But I think I choose the more aggressive line here and put the Fate Foreseen on bottom of the deck. No, actually, luckily, I did decide for the smart way, I think. But let me know in the comments. Like, would you have bottomed the Fate Foreseen and kept the Looking for a Scrap? Let me know. So here I come in for 10. And so Cindra needs to block for 6 in order to not die. So very easy block with a Blood Spattered Vest. There's only 1 counter left on it. But she still needs to give me 2 cards, which is good. I mean, I have the Fate Foreseen now in Arsenal, so I can definitely block out 1 card. But at the same time, I'm also down to 3 lives. So I definitely need to give her another attack. And then Cindra most likely is going to be able to flick another knife with the flick knives. But then she would be out of daggers, at least for the next turn, if there's not a blue in her hand. Okay, so she blocks with Blood Spattered Vest, Throw Dagger, and a Rising Resentment for 6. So Cindra goes down to 1. I have the Fate and Arsenal. And now let's see what she can do. So I also have a Take It on the Chin, so I could prevent the 2 damage from Ignite here. And then I could actually, with my resources, come in for a Big Bully for 12, if I'm not going to go to lower life. So here comes a kunai. That's going to hit me for 1. So I go down to 2. And now comes an attack. And here is what I missed in my calculation at that moment. Because now, using the Fate, most likely Cindra will flick me for another damage. Because that means I am going to 1 as well. So I'm dead by flick knives if she gets her daggers back. But also it means that Big Bully is not life anymore if I don't have life gain. And I don't have life gain right now. So yeah, we're both at 1. And in the end, I probably could have played this smarter. I could have blocked with a Big Bully on one of the kunais and then just used the outside interference, pitched the flex strength, and used the outside interference obviously to get a Big Bully, played the flex strength. But I wasn't smart enough in that moment. At the same time, I do have the agility. And so here I come in with Big Bully for 4 and have go again. And now Cindra needs to respect this, because if I have a blue in hand, I could pump this to 6. So she needs to give me 6 block here, otherwise she's dead. And then obviously I don't need to pump it and can use the outside interference to actually pitch into Mandible Claw, which at least gives me another attack, like another card from her. But she does have her kunais back in her hand. So if she's allowed to attack me next turn, I'm going to be dead, unfortunately. So I really need to get all of the cards out from her hand. So here she blocks 6, makes sense. But now I come in for 3. And if she only has 2 blocks in her hand, she needs to give me both in order to survive, which means she can't attack me anymore. And then she can't flick the dagger anymore. But here I actually decide to use the outside interference to get a Basking Your Own Greatness, which is even better because that's 4 damage and not only 3 from the Mandible Claw. And I do have 1 resource left to pitch into the Basking Your Own Greatness to create a might. And now she definitely needs to give me both cards. Even if I would have clawed, she would have needed to give me both cards, but I would be down 1 might. So this was definitely a smart play in that moment. Here my next hand is, interesting. What I can do is play the Trot Along, pitch the Nimblism into Mandible Claw, then has go again from the Trot Along, and then just use the E-Strike put the Fate Foreseen on bottom of deck for 7. So coming in for 10, and at least this will strip Cindra off of her hand. Oh, and actually I have the Might, so I'm coming in for 4. So I get 2 cards on the claw already. And then if she doesn't have like a D-React, she should be dead on the E-Strike. So she gives me 5, Snatch and Ancestral Empowerment. And now E-Strike coming in for 7, and that should seal the deal. So she blocks 3. Is there a D-React? There is not. All right, cool. So we won the game. It was a close one. So let's take a look at the review real quick. I think I played this quite well. There were like a few mistakes that I spotted throughout the game already and mentioned, but please let me know if you've seen anything else that you would have played differently. I think, first of all, it's super important to play as efficiently as possible. Use the take it on the chin, ideally, to get use out of your resources to get as much damage in as possible. Also, Vigor plus Tunic. I think it didn't happen in this game now, but Vigor plus Tunic and a 2-cost in hand or in arsenal means that you can basically play it for almost free from a resource perspective. And that is very awesome. If possible, if we can set up something strong in arsenal, that's obviously good. Ideally, get like a CNC pummel off of the ground. That could definitely help. And I think the most important thing you and we all need to get better at when playing against Cindra is evaluating Cindra's hand. Because there is a huge difference if Cindra has 3, 4, or 5 cards in hand, because that decides on how we need to block in order for her to not get the draw off of Mask. And now again, if I remember correctly from this game, I think Cindra did not draw a single card off of Mask. But that said, Cindra is one of the toughest matchups we can have as RKO. I think it's okay-ish if we go second. I think it's unfavored, at least if we go first. But yeah, definitely the blocking decisions make decide a lot in this game. So that is definitely something we should all be prioritizing. Cool. So this was the first video with a new format, going a little bit more into the pre-game talk, what's the game plan, and now also the review. Please let me know in the comments if this is something you enjoy. Please also let me know if you have different views on what's the game plan and what we've noticed in the game. Every feedback is welcome, and I'll try to adhere to it in the next videos. So yeah, thanks again for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. That would mean a lot to me. And looking forward to see you in person soon. Take care and bye-bye.